Well, okay, so there's a, I think if I remember correctly, there's a court proceeding, and these were from leaked texts.
Uh, but again, I'm not going to say that. You're not going to say that. And my text to you, or your text to me, I wouldn't ever say anything like that. I don't
No,
get
no,
people's
and it, like, because she also, called her producer, like a fucking moron.
Hmm. Well, good luck trying to find work there, lady. Good luck. Hey, let's completely switch topics and switch directions, and let's talk about a small film director. Some people may have heard of him. His name is Spike Lee. We wanted to talk a
Yeah,
little bit about the Spike Lee filmography. You messaged me the other day, asked me what my favorite Spike Lee movie was, and you know what? I am fascinated by the things that he's done, the movies that he's made, the stances that he's taken, all that stuff. And so, two white boys take on another topic that should we take on? I don't know, but we're going to do it anyhow. So,
probably not.
let's kind of start
Probably
back
not.
at
But
the beginning. Go ahead,
well, let me tell you why I asked you this,
please.
okay? Because I think this is kind of interesting. So my oldest daughter uh walked into the room, and I had just found out that Do the Right Thing was on Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And Do the Right Thing um has one of my favorite movie intros of all time,
Ooh, I like it.
with just the dancing.
Sure.
Like there's so much energy and really puts you in the headspace for it. So anyway, I'm watching the movie, and it's just a, like, it's not the love hate scene, it's nothing towards the end, it's just a random scene at the beginning. And my oldest daughter walked in, and she watches it for like 2 seconds, and she goes, "What is this? It seems like it's really focused on race."
Boy, I tell you.
Yeah, and I said, "Well, uh uh welcome to your introduction to Spike Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go."
Yep.
So that's why I texted you, because I was wondering what your favorite Spike Lee movie is, because mine used to be uh okay. I'll put it this way. There are some movies that I might not care for when I first see them, but stick in the back of my brain. The Fountain, from Aronofsky, is one of
Sure.
these where I was like, I don't care for this. But after about a year and a half of not being able to stop thinking about it, I'm like,
Right.
oh, well, obviously this had some kind of lasting impact. And that's the way Do the Right Thing is, where I first saw it, I'm like, like, I get why people liked it at the time, but not my thing. But I haven't been able to stop thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So while I used to say Inside Man was my favorite, and I think that's like the safest answer someone could probably choose
Sure.
next to Do the Right Thing,
Yeah.
because it's one of the few movies he did that um isn't very polarizing,
Yeah.
you know?
There's not. Yeah. We don't discuss race. I mean,
Yeah,
there's still race involved in some of the situations
right, but not to the
forefront.
right. You don't have Danny Aiello like
Sure.
brandishing a baseball bat, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think over time, I've grown to like his work more. But yeah, we can talk about his career. What do you want to talk about it?
He's one of the people that I look at directors throughout the history of cinema that just really came in and changed things and did his own thing as an
Yeah,
artist, as a creator, and I love him for that. Like his passion about films is second to none. He talks about he carries around an ace in the hole poster with him sometimes. He showed up at an interview and he was just like, "This is the greatest movie ever. Let's talk about it." And that's the kind of love from a director that that just I hold him in such high esteem. Um, some of the films, like you said, are just not for me, but you know what? Not everything has to be for us. I mean, people can
yeah,
make different films for different people. So I want to start out with the one that's probably for me, it's the most fascinating in Spike Lee's filmography because I remember when it came out, and me as a human person, just watching the trailer was very confused, and then understanding and seeing what the world was. And that, my friend, is Jungle Fever.
yeah.
1991 from Spike Lee. That movie stars, if I hit the right button, I can tell you, Wesley Snipes. Spike Lee is in it, Annabella Scoria, and it's the story of a white person and a black person dating in 1991 and how that works. And I think that was really great for society at that point to be able to see that reflection on screen, so we get comfortable with that, because Americans have to get comfortable in some way, shape, or form with things. And so I really remember, honestly, as an 11-year-old watching the trailers and just seeing that and kind of having some kind of grasp of what that meant to where we're at in society at that point.
Well, people, especially on Twitter, like to talk about filmmakers' runs. Like who has the
Yep,
greatest run of hits.
sure.
Now, let's start with 1986, his first feature, right?
Yes,
She's Gotta Have It.
she's gonna have it. Yes, I forget
Then
sometimes that was his first one.
School Days, Do the Right Thing, Mo Better Blues, Jungle Fever, Malcolm X,
Mm.
Brooklyn, Clockers. Okay, so we are a decade in, and
Insane.
each single one is whether or not, like, they're universally loved. At the time, they were huge. They were big, important movies, right?
Correct.
Um,
I
and
don't think
then
I've seen any of those that they weren't on videotape. I just thought I'd side note you on
right, right.
that.
Then he's got Get on the Bus, Four Little Girls. Then He Got Game, Summer of Sam, the original Kings of Comedy, which everyone forgets he directed. And
Right.
that movie, I remember I was in college when that came out, and we watched it like twice a week. Like
Right.
that was always on. Then Bamboozled, which is a very interesting flick.
I've never seen it. I'm fascinated by it. Obviously, I've seen the trailer. It's just, go ahead and give me a
Yeah.
log line for Bamboozle, Matt, real quick.
I've only seen I've only seen parts of it.
Fine, I'll do it.
I haven't seen it all the way through. If you want to do the IMDb one,
Yep, that's
a
what I'm about to
frustrated
do.
African American TV writer proposes a blackface minstrel show in protest, but to his chagrin, it becomes a hit. So it's kind of like The Producers.
How great is that?
Right, but he goes from doing Bamboozled, which it's shot on video, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it seems almost like it's a recorded play. Like every trailer, I remember it seemed like, wait, did they just film a play? Like, so he comes off of that. 25th Hour, She Hate Me. It's just they're hit after hit after hit. And I'm not going to just go down the list of everything he's done, but I think my favorite.
It was convenient for you to stop right there, because then it becomes for me, it's post that. It's post Inside Man.
Well, then
everything
you have
after
Miracles Boys and then Inside Man. Everything after Inside Man, for a while feels a little off, right?
Heavy stuff like you did When the Levees Break. You did that documentary. Yeah, there was, he went back to like doing heavy stuff.
But to me, he kind of really got back to, I would say, his 90s kind of flow with a Black Klansman, which I think was my favorite movie of that year.
Oh, you're gonna skip over Old Boy, his version of Old Boy, which I really enjoyed. If the first version of Old Boy would have been so damn good, his version of Old Boy is pretty good.
His version of Old Boy is not bad. It's not bad at all. But again, you've got the original, and it's like there's nothing to like. It's one of those, Americans don't want to read subtitles, so we're going to remake it.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's nothing wrong with his version of Old Boy.
Nothing wrong at all. It was very enjoyable. I think I saw it in theater. I didn't say my favorite, so I want to make sure to give a little shout out to Clockers. It was his 1995 film, which I watched a dozen times when I was younger. I was fascinated by this idea of a drug dealer who also loved model trains and this life that they were living in the inner city that I didn't understand at all. But I was hip hop and everything else at that time, so I really just dove into all that. I think that those characters are fantastic. For me, that's my favorite time that he used the Spike Lee shot, where it's the dolly in kind of shot.
Yeah,
I think he perfected in Clockers, because he did it a couple of times. The interrogation scenes, the way the lighting is shot, it just like feels so intimate and so what you would feel like in that space. And I just love that film. It is fantastic. That just the little nuances that he did in that thing. For me, it's just it's the bee's knees. It's the bee's knees
I,
for me.
I've always really liked Summer of Sam.
Very polarizing. Because
it
it's
is.
harsh, but that story is
You know,
harsh.
well, see, okay, well, see, that's the thing that I kind of liked about it is that it's such a downer flick.
Right.
Like there's nothing happy in it, and you know, by the time the dog shows up, it's like you're just all in. Actually, I think you know what a good pairing with that movie would be, what a good double feature would be.
Hit me.
Scorsese's Bringing Out the Dead.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
I think those two flicks kind of they have a very similar vibe. Like the film stock seems kind of similar. You know,
Right.
it's real deep blacks at night. You know, and like the blooming highlights. I think those two would pair well together.
Thumbs up to Spike Lee. I love what he's doing out there. I hope he keeps doing it. Our world is better for having him as a filmmaker.
Now,
That's for sure.
well, real quick, you know, the thing about Spike Lee that you got to kind of love is the fact that he doesn't care what you think about him.
Sure.
He's going to tell the stories he wants to tell, and you can come along or not.
Yeah.
You know,
he would have never gotten to where he was if he cared at all.
He is 100% him. And I don't think, you know, there's some people that try to adopt a persona, you know.
Sure.
Like I think John Waters is John Waters all throughout the day. You know, I think he is just that person. I think Spike Lee's the same way.
Sure.
Right. There's nothing fake about him.
Agreed. Hey, new segment time. I have grown fascinated by something and I wanted to share it with you and the world. Premiere Magazine, right here, was a movie magazine. I believe it was a French movie magazine, but I don't know why or how or whatever. That has long since been canceled, but it's a fascinating look back at old Hollywood, 90s and 80s Hollywood and what was going on at the time. So I wanted to take a look at the fall preview 1995 issue from October of 95 with Woody Harrelson on the cover. And I wanted to go over some of the exciting movies that they were talking about this year and see what you think. Give you like a live...
Well, while you're going through that, I just got to mention that this is my first time noticing behind you a Price is Right name tag.
Hell yeah.
I never did that. I never went to a taping.
I went to one, stood in line. It was fantastic. I've been in that studio. It was crazy, dude. It was so cool. Drew Carey, very funny in person as well. Also in this magazine, just as a side note, wasn't intentional, but there's a couple articles about clockers. There's one about the release of Jaws, and then a very large article about Showgirls. So that is something.
God bless that movie.
God bless Showgirls. The select committee, these would be the top movies that they were looking forward to in the fall preview issue of Premiere Magazine. And I'm going to start right at the top and go, are you sure about that? A movie called Ace Ventura When Nature Calls is the number one movie that they were looking forward to, starring a man named Jim Carrey.
Don't forget how much of a star maker that first one was. Like it 100%. Came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just kind of changed the planet.
When was the last time you've seen Ace Ventura When Nature Calls?
I've only watched it once and I didn't care for it then.
Yeah, me either.
And if I figured in 1995, if I didn't like it, I'm probably not going to like it when I'm older.
Yeah, that's fair. I know that I convinced my mom to go see the first one, or let me go see the first one, because I told her it was a sports movie, and she believed me. So,
and just so people don't think it's because I'm like an elitist a-hole or something, I literally watched Major Payne followed by Kindergarten Cop the other day.
Hell yeah!
Right, and I own King Ralph on Blu-ray, so it's not like I have, you know, highfalutin taste.
Your bona fides have been certified, my friend. How about The American President, written by Aaron Sorkin, directed by Rob Reiner?
That's a solid film. I love that one.
Yep, it was very solid. Did well.
I prefer Dave.
Okay. Just as long as you don't say Bullworth, I'll be okay.
No, but my favorite political one from that era is oh my God, Primary Colors. That movie is just incredible.
For sure, for sure. Have you ever heard of a little movie called Casino? Third on
Yeah.
the select committee list. I believe the director's name was Martin
Yeah.
Scorsese.
The
Yeah,
backlash on, I think the only thing that people remember in terms of critical reception is what David Spade said about it
I don't
on
remember that. What did he say?
Weekend Update. He goes, Casino, Casino, back when it was called Goodfellas.
Ah,
Which like
so
is an
wrong.
easy joke, but it's not accurate at all.
And Casino may be the better movie
It is the better movie,
in retrospect.
but it's not as fun because there's not a likable protagonist. Henry Hill's a likable protagonist. Rothstein is very cold and not.
Right, yeah. Oh boy, yeah, for sure. The great, maybe you could tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna say the greatest switch of a movie an hour into the movie ever, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah,
came,
yeah,
came
yeah.
out.
That's all you had to say. Yeah, no, that originally was kind of what I was wanting to do with Blue Moon. Was halfway through, it was going to become a werewolf movie,
Just switch
and
it.
that was the blueprint. And then I figured, I don't want to do that. Only they
So
can pull it off.
Miramax paid Rodriguez and Tarantino $2.35 million apiece to revive the original script. I wish
Oh,
I could get that.
I didn't know it wasn't original to them.
Well, I think they had written it in like it was a first draft.
Oh,
And
okay,
paid.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I think
okay.
that was the situation.
Wait, they got paid $5 million for a second draft?
Yep.
And the '90s were different.
Different time, man. Different time.
Where did all that money go?
Now you can't
Where's
even
all
get
that money now? My God.
hands of the fat cats that ain't sharing it. This one I didn't remember. I had to look this one up on the old IMDb page. How to Make an American Quilt. Do
Oh,
you remember
wow.
that at all?
The title sounds familiar, but man, I don't remember it at all.
A young woman contemplating marriage listens to love stories told by the women sewing her wedding quilt. Yeah, I guess that's not for us. Let's move on to Jumanji. The original Jumanji, which now pales in comparison to the new first Jumanji. I think that's way better, but the original wasn't too bad. Robin Williams was the star. It was fun. I
Well, that's the
enjoyed it.
thing about the original is that it has Robin Williams and Bonnie Hunt, and they
Yes,
make it work.
100%. I'm going to sidetrack real quick because I didn't realize this today. Did you know that Coppola was so deep into doing his on the road movie that he had already done in one of the articles in one of the other magazines, they were talking about doing the costume designs for everything. I didn't realize he was that deep into that movie before he got canceled.
Well, I mean, he's tried to do Megalopolis before,
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's basically taking every dime he made selling wine to bring it to us. More power to him.
Hell yeah.
Hey, well, he's like, well, my kids are set up, and you can't take it with you,
Right.
I
wish I had it to give it away.
Why not make one last, take one last big swing?
Did you ever see Oliver Stone's Nixon?
Yeah. Now I think
I did. I don't think I did. Anthony Hopkins as Nixon. I missed out on that one. Sabrina, Two Wealthy Brothers.
Yeah, it's a remake.
Oh yeah. Okay, as I'm reading, I'm like, duh. Yeah. Yes.
It's a solid remake, but no one tops Audrey Hepburn. Like, I mean, just who else you gonna get?
When I first approached him, I didn't want to do it. Admits Pollock, who, macho prodding from Ford, committed to getting the Billy Wilder's blessing over lunch. So that's pretty awesome. I would have done the movie just so I could spend lunch with Billy Wilder. And one last one. They didn't expect it to come as it did and have like 17 versions of it afterwards, but a movie called Toy Story also was there for you, written by Josh Whedon.
Well, not really.
No, I'm just in the thing here. It's saying that's what they claim.
No. There was some punch up, but that was not a Joss Whedon script.
And it also exactly, because it shows how the news cycle worked back then. It was very much a manipulation. They put that in here so then people think, oh, it's Josh Whedon, and then he gets more.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is, they realized that just making a good movie with, it was the first CG feature.
Right.
So I mean, that's enough to get people to it. And the first one is still fantastic. Mm-hmm. The second one I still think is a perfect film. The third one is one of the most depressing and lovely movies I've ever seen,
Hmm.
and I'm really glad they didn't make a fourth. They never made a fourth to that, right? Never, never.
Not at all.
Nope,
Not at all.
nope, 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 nope.
Too funny. Well, that was 95. A look back in the things that they were looking at and the what's not. So I'm fascinated by Premiere. So I'm sorry, guys. You're going to have to listen about Premiere Magazine probably for the rest of the year. I got my eye on the last Action Hero
I
episode or the issue.
I used to read Premiere. Premiere I really liked, along with Cinefex. Those were my two.
Hmm. I don't know how I missed out on those. I was reading some of the magazines like Empire. I was doing
Yeah.
Empire and stuff, but never Premiere. I guess it just never was at my local bookstore for whatever reason.
Did you ever read Cinefex?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. The only problem was it was quarterly, and it was really more like a book because each one was
Right.
like $16.
Yep.
But like for someone who was interested in visual effects, like there was nothing better. Oh, and of course Fangoria and Cinelogue, stuff like that I read.
I can't wait till we talk about the FX issue from 1995. Ooh, boy, you're gonna have some fun with that one.
Oh yeah.